So, after a long seat and very inspiring monologue, basically, it's up to us to try and not to be boring and get indeed into not quite numbers, but innovation. The question here is, because the panel title is, if I say it correctly, How Private Capital Shapes Hospitality Footprints. Next to me is Neil Benjeloun. Neil is co-founder of JL Equity and runs a multi-family office out of Morocco called Bedrock. And
Salim, London,
out of London, of course, but it's based out of Morocco. So Salim Elzain is head of asset management for DR. DR, 22 years developing here in Dubai, solely in Dubai. So I could not have had two panelists that are more different to each other. So this calls for an interesting discussion, I would imagine. Neil, if I start with you, you're basically, the developments you do are about luxury. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, we're focused on a flagship project in Marrakesh in Morocco, in the luxury space for a few reasons. I mean, I think when people think about Morocco, there's this kind of imagery that comes to mind about the natural elements. You think about palm trees of Marrakesh, you know, maybe the waves in Taghazout.
Absolutely.
And so my kind of point of view is that creating the right setting to enjoy all those things from a service perspective, from a quality perspective, actually heightens as opposed to dilutes that experience. So that's one point. The second is from a policy perspective, Morocco is very active on pushing for not just quantity but quality in terms of the keys. And so as a private investor / developer, if we can contribute to that goal, we're very happy to do so. And that goal is in the context of huge growth in tourism numbers in Morocco. Just to share some headlines, 17.5 million visitors in 2024. That's a 20% year-over-year increase from the year prior. And that represents 1 in every 5 visitors in Africa came to Morocco.
Yeah,
and if you zoom in to Marrakesh, for instance, about a third of all overnight stays are captured by that market.
Yep.
So you're seeing occupancy levels high up, ADRs high up. So it seems like the setting is right to absorb a product of that standard.
So when I listen to those numbers, then if I go back, I'm switching to you, Salim, if I go 22 years, 25 years back to make it easy into time into Dubai, when I used to come here first as well, Dubai looked, not understating it, but looked quite different than it does today. So you've been with Dayar, one of the forerunners basically of helping to develop Dubai into what it is today. So it is about innovation and about footprints where we're going. So if I look at your website, and I'm going to read it out loud, you say that DR, it says, where dreams begin and thrive. This is what your motto is. And so what drives DR? Is it beauty? Is it change? Or are you more sedate and more conservative?
Thank you, Dirk. I think, as you said, DR has been around for around 22 years. We are a public listed company, so we have permanent capital. We have been in the forefront of the development of Dubai for the last 22 years. And we have a mandate to actually develop Dubai as well. What we focus on is not just conservatism, but we also very select in what we develop. So throughout the years, we've been very selective in terms of the type of product that we develop, whether it was residential or hospitality or commercial. We look very much into the demographics of where we want to develop. And we try to also be at the forefront in terms of development in areas where people would not normally develop because they don't have the demand as of yet. But we know that Dubai has a story. Dubai has always been, as you said, the forefront. And we wanted to develop areas within Dubai, such as Science Park, for example. Back in 2007, when nobody actually wanted to go into Science Park, we developed over there hotels and residential. And if you look at Science Park now, where it is, and the corridor that leads from this area over here of Dubai all the way up to the Arabian ranches, it's completely changed. So this is what we like to do. We like to be very selective. We are conservative in terms of our decision-making process, where we make sure that we deliver a product that is that elevates Dubai and also caters for the community and for the guests in terms of hotels.
So there's a big difference between the two of you. Have said it before. So private equity, I'm going back to the title, is private equity shaping hospitality footprints. Obviously, Neil, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're very IRR driven. You know, you need high returns. So in that sense, you're always looking for opportunities, buy low, sell high. If you're not a keeper, that might, you know, in your case, might be different on certain fronts, but still, there's that IRR drive. So in a world that is fast changing, I mean, look at Hilton or look at Accor or Marriott. They used to have only one brand. Today, there's like 30, 40, 50 brands under one flag. That has to do with a change of consumer. Do you bear that in mind when you develop in Morocco, for instance, when you say, when you're private equity, so luxury is one distinguisher. In Dubai, we started with luxury as well, and now there's all kinds of other concepts. So is innovation important to you?
Sure, yeah, definitely. I mean, when I think innovation, I kind of think about differentiation. So innovating in terms of the types of products that you're bringing to market. So, you know, connecting that, obviously, you know, if you're raising capital, putting capital together, backing certain projects, naturally you'll be IR driven. And as more and more institutional capital comes into that space and deploy through closed-end funds and have their hurdles that they have to hit, et cetera, there's obviously IR becomes more and more of a factor. Now in the luxury space, you need a very solid backbone to be able to withstand that kind of steeper J curve. And so I think you have more yield focused investors who might go into the select service and the limited service space where margins might be a bit higher, ramp up is a bit shorter, and the capex that's required is lower. And I think, you know, operating in a few different spaces kind of helps you.
Yeah. So, Salim, back to you. When the yard develops, and let's focus on hotels because you do a lot more than that, obviously. But let's focus on hotels. Hospitality is somewhere where we are. The 25 years ago, it was straight up development. Nowadays, there's so much, all the brands and all the sub-brands are basically in this market. You develop basically, either you develop something and you sell it, if I'm not mistaken, or either you develop and you keep it and you asset manage yourself, correct?
Yes.
Does your choice for, if you develop a hotel, depend on these new trends, or do you look at these new trends, which you not just do lifestyle, but which you do, for instance, invest in products that have a much higher return per square meter, you know, revenue per square meter or EBITDA per square meter? Do you look at that when you make your choices?
We do look at that. I mean, obviously, hospitality as such, we do look at trends, but for us as a developer, we have a lot of mixed-use development, so the hospitality element is always a support to the other asset classes within the development. So when we look at trends, we look at what can actually support, for example, the sale of the residential part of the mixed use, what can support the offices, if there's a hospitality element in there. So for us, branding is very important. Commercial viability as well is very important, not just for the hotel, but for the entire component that comes in, including that of the residential, the offices, the retail, so on and so forth, depending on the building that we are doing. So we're very commercially focused, and as I said previously, we'd love to be like Faena, but obviously what we try to do is try to be very commercially successful, and that has to go through certain processes for us. So yes, hospitality is a very important element. We try to stay within the trends of hospitality, but that also has to support the other asset classes.
Yeah, cool. So innovation is driven by consumers. You know, consumers change. Gen X, Gen Alpha, and all the gens that you can think of in their own generation have imposed a certain pressure on what they're asking for in their delivery. Today, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, I'm going to you. We see, you know, if I see the numbers on Taylor Swift, for instance, you know, when she goes to Poland, the GDP of Poland went up by 2%. So ADRs.
Good for Poland.
I know, but it's in other countries as well. It's a phenomenon. It's the same with sports events.
Exactly.
So big sports events, you know, have a big influence on hospitality and on trends. Do you take that into account? Do you see these trends as well? And do you reckon with them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Morocco specifically, and I'm looking at it through my obviously Morocco lens, that's obviously a big pillar of the push in tourism. We're currently hosting the Africa Cup, and
Yep.
we hosted GITEX, Africa GITEX, in Marrakesh, and I mean today you can't book a room in Rabat, for instance, where it's one of the host cities for the Africa Cup. And then obviously the big one is the World Cup in 2030.
Yep.
So there's obviously a huge push to.
Does that affect your investment decisions, these opportunities?
Yes and no. I think when you tend to underwrite a new development or project, you typically are backwards looking, and so you're looking at the real fundamentals and underwriting the market as it is today. If anything, you might penalize yourself a bit. If you're building a hotel for the World Cup, let's say, you might add higher contingencies if other people are trying to build at the same time, right? You might get an inflation in input costs and things like that. So we obviously take it into account, but ideally just as upside.
Yeah. Salim, a bit going on the previous question I asked you in terms of relating to trends. Do you see under the change of the consumer, the change of the younger generation that has a different, social media, everything plays a role, connectivity, community sense, all these words, they do apply to buildings. Do you see that also outside the hotel industry? If you move from hotels to branded apartments, do you develop branded apartments? Because also those are now, a segment that's here to stay. It's obviously hyped and it will flatten out a little bit. There's always has that curve where it flattens out. Do you see that happening? You're investing in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think branded apartments are core to what we do as well, especially if we bring in a brand to run, let's say, the hospitality component. But even without a hotel component within the development, there's also opportunities for us as a developer to be able to brand a building, to provide some of the services that that brand offers, without it being a fully serviced hotel. That gives the investors a kind of a security on their investment, that there is a brand, there is someone there taking care of their hotel, of their property within the hotel. And also it gives longevity in terms of being able to remarket and resell these properties out in the market. So there is certain perception, obviously, for branded. It can be part of a hotel, it can be standalone, and we've done standalone licensed buildings with a hotel brand with minimal services, and that has been quite successful here as well in Dubai. Moving on as well from branded residences, we see other product types such as the holiday home sector, which is the Airbnb sector, what you call in Europe. Here in Dubai, it's very much regulated through the tourism authorities, and we have also seen a very good commercial viability to renovate and change the use of residential units to short-term holiday home type of product that is also being serviced by a holiday home operator. Not to the same level, obviously, for a hotel, but still there's a lot of demand for it, and we've been as well very successful at that.
Cool. I'm conscious of time. I see the ticker going there, so I don't want to interfere with Tanya's timings and schedule a little bit more. So I have two questions to end with, and then I'll have a couple of questions for the audience if they're there. Questions for both of you. Which project are you most proud of, and why? Neil?
I think maybe I'll borrow a phrase from Le Corbusier, the architect. When asked which of his projects are his favorite, he answered the next one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to skip your question, but I think the one that we're currently working on in Marrakesh involves, feels like herding cats and getting everyone aligned and together towards a common goal. And we've made great progress, and that's one that I'm proud of today.
Cool. Salim?
Similar
more
to me,
proud
I
of?
think the project that I am most excited about is not there yet, but it's up and coming. We're going to be launching it hopefully next year. Is one of the projects on Sheikh Zayed Road, very close to the Wasl Tower, which is the Mandarin at the moment. It's going to be quite a feat, quite a feature, quite a design. And we're going to have it's a mixed-use development, obviously. It's going to have a hotel, offices, retail, residential, branded residence, and also premium residences in there. So I'm looking forward. I've seen some of the designs so far, but I'll keep things under wrap until we actually make the announcement officially.
Yeah, that's a good one because mixed use is one of those things also that I like a lot because that has so much opportunity to do cross-selling and to retain people coming in because there's always these various functions in it. Last question, both of you. What are you most jealous of? Which project are you most jealous of? Any project?
Maybe most inspired by, I'll say, is the Royal Mansour collection in Morocco. It's His Majesty's the King's hotel group, and I think the brand that they've built, the brand equity and presence that they've built with that collection is
amazing.
second to none. Yeah. I don't know if you visited it.
No, I haven't seen it. No,
Yeah, but
no.
you should come visit.
No, we will do absolutely. Last one for you. What are you most jealous of? Anything?
I had a project in mind, but then I changed when I saw the previous session. I think I do love what I've seen with Faena. The art, the culture, the whole community feel. I think that is something that I personally hope that I'll be able to get engaged with at some point in my career as well. So
Yeah.
that's something I loved.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'll tell you mine as well.
Yeah.
I like Zoku.
So
Couldn't resist saying that. Hans is gone, sorry, but he was here. There's also community sense. It's a hotel, it's extended stay, it's a kitchen where everybody eats. It's in the Netherlands, and it's in Copenhagen, and I like it very much. Any questions from the audience? Anybody? Nope? Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. And we kept it well within time, and that's for me quite unusual, but after the previous speaker, I think we helped Tanya a bit.
Great.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.